Hello everyone, welcome again. Good evening. How are you today? After the bloodbath in markets, right? So I'm sure we'll have quite some interesting questions today. Yeah, and Nifty did do very bad. I think we'll quickly go through the charts also, right, of other sectors just to see what's happening in other sectors, and we'll also take a look at the Nifty charts as usual. But overall, I see that Nifty is kind of weakening. Definitely, I can't say that it's strong. Yesterday my opinion was different. I said that probably we made a bottom, and I said that we are done probably, and we may test the parallel channel and head higher. But Bank Nifty sell off was crazy. I think Bank Nifty was the biggest spoil sport today in terms of the sell off. It was around a 3.5% sell off, and that sell off was just throughout the entire session. But there are some points that I want to talk about on the charts. I'll look at them shortly. But yeah, welcome everyone. We have 10 people. We have a few sessions. A few people have joined us, and there's a question to postpone the timing. That's really not possible, Piyush. I'm really sorry, but definitely, like Sagar mentioned, you can always watch the videos later, right? That's always an option that everyone has. If you're really interested in knowing my views about markets, you will find your time to look at my videos later. So it's completely up to you how you want to do that. Okay, now, but before that, I did post a video today on about 3 stocks. One from pharma, one from the jewelry space. That stock really stood the ground today, right? So the pharma stock was Moroccan. If you have not watched, go and click the very first video and watch it. Moroccan did corrects for some correct, I think around 5% corrected. TBZ, or I don't know, I can't really get the full name, but TBZ from the jewelry space did hold its ground. It was one of the stocks which was in the positive today. It did also try to recover just in the last couple of hours of the session. The third stock was Jammu and Kashmir Bank, and that did crack around 6%. Now the entire sell-off in PSU banks does looks very bad after the move. So we had a very good move in the last couple of weeks, and all that moves were given back, and we kind of back to square one. Now, that's really concerning, but my view on overall markets is that even though the Nifty has made a lower low, so we had this as the previous low, and now we've broken that low and we've gone lower. So we have a lower low now, and we have a lower high. So previous lower high and lower high. Right now, this happens, right? So sometimes if you see here, we went kind of up and then we came back, and then we went up again, but then we went on a sideways consolidation mode. Now that can happen again, right? We never know when that's going to happen. We never know when we can crash, just like before we did in COVID, right? So anything can happen, but I feel that the markets are pretty oversold. We might have some consolidation, but whether this trend is going to continue or whether it's going to go up again, that I can't really say at this moment. But let's look at the charts and see what's happening across many sectors. Now that's going to give you some when you look at all the sector charts, probably you might get some comfort when you look at some of the charts. But one trend line that I was watching in the last few days was this trend line there, and that has clearly now broken, right? So that channel over there has completely broken, and we are completely out of the trend line. Now, obviously, the next question is what could be the next support for Nifty? Now, if you see, we have a major support band right now where Nifty is at. Now, that's a major support band for Nifty, and we are right around that zone. And I have a feeling that tomorrow we'll have a bounce back, a dead cat bounce, but that whether it last or whether we can head higher from here, I am not really sure up at this point. But definitely we are close to a support zone. So that's the support zone I'm looking at, and we are closed right around that support zone. Right now, along with this, there is also a trend line that I'm looking at now. This trend line there, right? I'm just connecting those 2 touch points, and I'm just extending that trend line. So yeah, so this can act as a support. You just see those range that's zoned there, right? So this can act as a support, and we might probably head tomorrow gap down. Who knows? Towards 17,700 probably. Sorry, not to 17,700. Probably we might head down towards 17,700 in the coming sessions after a dead cat bounce tomorrow. But yeah, all you can do is, unless you're not a Nifty trader, these views don't really help you. If you're just trading stocks, all you have to stick to the stock stop loss, because many stocks have not made this pattern that Nifty has made today. We look at those stocks, we look at all the stocks in the watch list, and I'll show you the trend which I'm looking at right now. Okay, but for now, I don't really see Nifty cracking another 2.5%. Right, tomorrow we might kind of reverse tomorrow, because even Bank Nifty is around a major support zone. Now remember, from this point to this point was a one-way move up, so probably it's a retest. I have no idea, to be honest, but I consider this as retest, and until we don't break this, then if we break that zone, then probably the next support zone for Nifty, for Bank Nifty, is that zone, right? So obviously, if we break this tomorrow, then we're going to see another at least 1,000 points correction in Bank Nifty, which is around 3%, and which means even Nifty might correct, but hopefully not. To be honest, this is the first time I'm sounding bearish in many weeks. That's primarily because of the trendline break which had in Nifty. Okay, but again, as I say, unless you're not a Nifty trader or a Bank Nifty trader, you don't have to be really worried. Hold on to your stocks. Some stocks might continue to do well. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the charts from all the sectors, right? So I do have this always, which I look at. So let's take a look at auto, right? Now auto has not broken that previous low which it made on 25th October. Now if you see Nifty has broken that low very clearly, which it made on the 25th October, whereas the auto index has not broken that low, right? So we have still not broken, auto index has not broken that low, which means auto has latest strength is much higher in auto after that sell-off which has happened, right? Now again, commodity has not broken the low, consumption has not broken the low. If you look at energy has broken that low, and energy has gone low. So that's the first sector where we are seeing a similar action to Nifty, right? Finance 25th, no, so CNX Finance is following Bank Nifty. So as Bank Nifty is going down, this is also going down. But you look at FMCG, right? FMCG is also close to the previous breakout zone, right? Close to support zone. IT, which was one of the weakest among all the sectors, which was one of the sectors that started correcting even before Nifty started correcting, is still doing well, right? So IT is still holding on to that major support, right? So media is also holding on to that previous support. Metals has kind of corrected a little bit. So metal also looks weak along with Nifty. So I'd not say no. But small cap index also is close to the previous low, right? It has not broken below the 25th low. Also MNC, also pharma, right? So in fact, pharma is close to a support zone. It's also close to that trend line, which is forming since that lows. So overall, if you look, PSU Bank obviously had a sell-off followed by Bank Nifty. But overall, if you look some of the sectors, most of the sectors have not broken that low of the 25th October, except Nifty. Now, there's a very high chance that we recover tomorrow and head higher. Now, I was expecting Nifty to also do the same thing, but because of Bank Nifty sell-off, Nifty kind of dragged. Remember, Bank Nifty has a very high weightage on the Nifty, and that's why it got really dragged. Also, if you look at the small cap index also, it has not even come close to the trend line support. It is still looking good, according to me. Obviously, the rejection right around the trend line doesn't look good, but we have still not broken any major indices, right? So overall, from my perspective, I feel we might not go lower, but if we do go lower, then all of the sectors are going to follow. And I feel that probably tomorrow we can reverse and head higher. It's just probably one day thing. It might probably disappear soon, right? And the sell-off might disappear soon, and we might head higher. Now, remember, we've had such sell-offs in the past, right? And we've kind of recovered every time. And until the levels of 70,400 is not taken out, which is a very strong weekly support, I don't see yet any problem in Nifty. Now, the reason why I say 70,400 is that strong zone that I see there, right? So that's the major level for me that has to be taken out. Unless we don't take that out completely and Nifty doesn't go down further, for me, I'm still a buy on dips, investor or trader, and I would still go behind stocks which are really strong. And that's the reason why I gave you 3 stocks: TBZ, Morapan, and the Jammu and Kashmir Bank. Okay, and I also feel that Bank Nifty also might reverse. We saw the chart as well. Okay, now what's the plan for tomorrow? Now, obviously, since we are short, in case if you're short from that day, the plan was to go long above that point. Sorry, not this point. Yeah, the plan was to go long over that point yesterday in case, but I think we just formed continuously lower high, lower lows. Now this was a beautiful trending day. You saw a lot of snapshots on Twitter which showed my highest profit ever and all that. Keep all that aside. That all let people enjoy who has made that money. You don't have to be really part of every party, as I always say. But I think we have kind of in a strong downtrend, and I'd really wait for this downtrend to get over. So for me, that trend line needs to be first taken out, and then there's a major zone that I'm looking for is that zone over there, right? So we have a kind of a very strong resistance. That's not a proper trend line, but yeah, around that zone is when I'll be looking at, which is also the previous swing high. So 18,040 to 50 levels is what I'll be looking at, and once we cross that, then I can probably say with a better with a higher probability that that is probably a bottom in place, and probably we are heading higher. Okay, so that's my take on Nifty. So unless we don't cross that, I will not really be long. I try to see shorts from a Nifty perspective. But also shorting at this point is not really favorable, because it has already fallen to 2.5%. You might not get tomorrow. Remember, mostly it might be a sideways day or a minor upside, but I don't think we'll have a similar sell-off tomorrow as well. Usually you don't see such kind of sell-offs, continuous sell-offs happening in consecutive days, unless we have a very strong bear market. So that's my view on Nifty, and I think I hope it helped you, right? And now let's look at our portfolio as well. So we did have a couple of pyramid triggers today. So we've added Blue Star Co and Jubilant Industries. Now both stocks pyramid levels were shared yesterday. I hope you had a chance to look at it. I did give my plan there, and then I also placed my GTTs and I shared a screenshot with you. So if you haven't taken the pyramids, it's totally fine. The markets did a bad job after triggering my pyramids. But I think these two stocks still are good. And just looking at the overall portfolio size, position size in each. So Rolex we have 14%, and Blue Star we have 19%, and Jubilant we have 15%. And overall risk is around 4.9%, right? 4,900. And I think we still have 3 small positions. Now again, tomorrow, in case market continues, then there's a very high chance that we might again get a stop losses triggered. But let's look at the charts quickly, and then we can take your questions. So Rolex rings kind of had a red day. Most of the stocks had a red day. There's nothing to be worried. Sorry, there's nothing surprising there. But RACL had kind of a strong sell-off, 3.5%, but still hasn't taken a stop loss. Stop loss here is 485, and Rolex also stop loss around 1050, right? Amiga Cotton did well. It did not go down much. That shows some strength, right? So it had a breakout yesterday. It's probably did a retest today. And our pyramid here again is 2200. We are buying about 2200, 6 shares, which would mean that we would have an additional 13% allocated to our stocks, around 12-13%. And it does look good. It can still be pyramided once it breaks out again. So Jubilant Industries again had a bad day. Remember, stop loss around 547. So if it breaks down tomorrow, then that's a breakout failure probably, and we're going to lose that stop loss amount around 1,000 rupees. So, but for now, yeah, it does look okay. Blue Star again was kind of did not fall that much, 0.67% only it fell. That's what I'm saying. Many stocks, if you see, we had only 3%, 1, 2, 3 stocks down 3%, but there were 3 stocks also which did not fall really much. Now that's why I'm saying this sell-off doesn't really look like a sell-off on the mid-cap, small-cap. So all the many stocks have corrected. I'm talking about strongest stocks because we always track the strongest stocks. Now again, CUB, our stop loss continues to be around 163. So if it hits 163, we are out, but hopefully it reverses tomorrow. Okay, now a few other stocks that we are looking at is TBZ. TBZ, remember, it is an excellent long breakout, a 9-year breakout, and we did see a green candle with excellent volumes. Now, what I have noticed here is that buying which came in the last in the last couple of hours, we had some strong buying, and this stock I think still has strength in this market, and it can go higher. Obviously, J&K Bank, since it's part of the banking space, it had a very strong sell-off, but I still think unless 36 is not taken out, this could be still considered for an investment opportunity. Network 18 had one of again a good sell-off, and I think there's a major support. That's the support I'm looking at. Remember, stop loss is on 68, but if it goes below 73, if you want to reduce your positions, do reduce your positions. Okay, Snowman, Allsec, Craftsman did not fall much. Look at this structure, right? Most of the stocks are just going sideways, and we've had some strong moves, and they're just going sideways. Allsec also the same story. We're just going sideways. Gravit also same story. We're going sideways. Mahindra going sideways, right? So if you compare these stocks with Nifty, the stocks show that there is still strength left. And once the market reverses, I think the mid cap and small cap can again continue to do well. Let's hope for that. Even here, if you see Max Health is still around the trend line, it's not doing much. And even Motilal Oswal is just going sideways. So overall, I feel the strongest stocks will continue to do well. You just be careful with what you pick. Okay, so that's my update. I'm now eager to look at what questions you have, especially any questions related to the strategy and markets. I'd be more than happy. I'm kind of not taking the stock questions every day is kind of a little boring for me, but yeah, I'm also happy to help you. So if you have any questions related to strategy, do let me know. Okay, Piyush has his first question: Burger King and Exide Industries. So let's look at both. Burger King, I think now there is a level that I'm looking at right now. If you remove that, you'll see that we are close to that zone. I'm sorry, there's some. Yeah. So if you look at this zone here, we are close to a support zone, right? Now, unless Burger India doesn't go below 145, you can still probably buy it. Tomorrow, look for a green candle and first is good. But 145 is the level I'll be looking at. And if it goes below 145, probably I'm out of Burger King. Okay. Industries. Exide Industries doesn't look really that great, to be honest, right? It's making a lower low. So probably it's going heading back to that trend line around 165. So not a really strong stock. But again, as I always say, you need to wait for higher highs to form. The stock is still forming lower highs. So since that breakdown, it's still forming lower highs, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, right? So I'd not be really interested in such stocks. These are weak stocks and they don't really have strength. You need to have a stock coming back in strength, and that is only possible when it makes high lows, right? So please avoid going into such stocks. You'll just be wasting your money and your time. Okay, I've given my views. It's up to you, Piyush, if you want to exit or hold. I'd not be holding definitely Exide Industries at this point. Okay, yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, you can watch my videos later. You don't have to really, join my sessions every day night. Just watch it the next day. Sudarshan's and ITC. Let's look at them. Question from Kumrigiri. Sudarshan also is kind of breaking right now. Remember one thing. Okay, there are going to, there are going to be many stocks which might break down in a weak market, and there'll be always stocks which are strong. Right now, this stock is breaking trend line doesn't mean you don't exit immediately. I'll see more weakness only below 560 levels. Unless it doesn't go below 560, I'd still probably consider being in the stock. So yeah, it does look weak. It has broken the trend line. It has a serious sell-off from that point. There was a nice consolidation on top and it has broken down. On the long-term charts, yeah, it is still good. If you're investing, probably you should not exit until it goes below 280 levels. You can still come back, you can add more, and then probably it can again head higher. But from a positional trading perspective, definitely I don't be holding this right now. Okay, or below that level that I mentioned. ITC, I think ITC is heading back towards 215, right? So I did post a chart yesterday, I remember. I think it's heading back towards 215 levels. Now, unless it doesn't come to 215, don't buy this. I'm sure it's going to come there towards the trend line and head higher. Okay, but again on the weekly charts, remember that this is in an uptrend on the weekly charts. On the daily charts, there's a short-term momentum down, but I think this can do well. Around 215, you can also look for some buying opportunities. Okay, look for a reaction around 215, see what it's doing, and then add more. Okay. Shiva, hello. Maruti, do you think bull market is over? Do you see any sector which can resist the further sell-off from here? Maruti, no one can tell you whether a bull market is over or not. No one can tell you. Believe me on that front. Markets have their own ways of behaving. You can just go with the flow, but no one can tell you whether the bull market is over. I spoke about all the sectors. I hope you can take some clues from that. And yeah, if you still have questions, to ask me. Ganesh, Supreme Petro, and VIP. Again, VIP looks good, right? It has still not made a lower low. So even though the kind of markets fell, it did try to go high today, but it came off down because of the market sell-off. But it does look very good. I don't see a problem yet. Okay. Supetro does look weak. I think we spoke about this yesterday also. Right, we said there's a trendline break and this might take some more time. Now, if it does break this low, right, this low of 600 levels, then completely I'd exit the stock. That's a major distribution which has happened at the top if it breaks that level, right? So that 600, if you see, it's been a multi-month distribution on the top, and if it goes below 600, that's the final confirmation. So do not hold this below 600. Please check Asahi India. Seems like a multi-year breakout. I think Asahi India was one of the strongest stocks. And yes, definitely it does look like a multi-year breakout. Yeah, it does look very good. You can go ahead and add it if you want, Sagar. The stop loss here is 345. Now look for such stocks in a weak market. They'll continue to do well in a strong market again. Yeah, so Maruti has another question. Bombay Dyeing break the trend line. Bombay Dyeing. Yes, it has broken. Again, but I feel there's a very strong support on 82. So unless it doesn't break 82, I'd still probably hold it, or even if you are a little aggressive, you can wait for 88 as well. Now remember, tomorrow is a Friday. If the market recovers and stocks recover and cover and go back up, then they can probably form, a wick. Okay, also on the linear charts, if you see, it is not broken the trend line yet, so I'd wait for both. That's why I say wait for unless 88 or even 82 breaks. I not really exit a stock right now. Just because trend lines break doesn't mean the stocks. These are very short-term trend lines. Now remember, trend lines you have to look at from multiple aspects. Now go back to my blog and try to refresh your concepts, especially on trend lines, because a short trend line is obvious it will break soon than a long-term trend line. Now go here and read the rules, read the principles, and you will understand that. Now even if the trend line breaks, I would not be very bearish on the stock unless it makes a new swing low, right? Okay, what is the next question? HDFC Limited, again, it looks like, a major sell-off. Sorry, HDFC Limited looks good. It has broken out of all-time highs. I think it does look good. I don't have any problem yet. This stock, it can head higher. It has not really gone down with the market, right? It is showing strength. Hey, Suhas. Let's look at your SRT transport. I'm sorry, I'm reading the question and what. Yeah, Abhinav, yeah, it was probably, yeah, you're right. The stop loss is pretty deep, and I can't really tell because I don't know what will happen or when it will reverse. But probably one level to watch out for is levels of 1400. It might come there and reverse because that was the breakout of the swing. It had continuous swing lows, right? Lower high, and then it broke out. So watch out for around 1400, 1420 levels. Probably it might reverse from there. Right? Then you can take action if you want, depending on how much losses you have. If you already have too much of losses, then I'd suggest exit right now. Okay, but if you can handle the loss, then yeah, wait for that level. Okay, fine. Asa India, Devrata, I've answered. Dollar Industries, Dinesh. Dollar Industries looks good. Again, there are so many examples that I'm showing in front of you. Markets have gone down, but stocks are going sideways. Now that shows strength in stocks. So please don't exit just because markets are going down, or don't listen to anyone on Twitter and just love your stock. CCI crossing minus 100 will be initial entry or not for any swing. You can take initial entry on this one. Just ensure that you are seeing a higher low, right? For example, let's take CCI here, right? So now it is coming from CCI 100 is coming back from there, right? So if you see we were minus 161, then we're coming to minus 100. Now if you're conservative, then you have to enter only above that high there, or wait for the next swing to form and then you enter above that point, right? Or you enter above this point there, right? Or you just wait and enter when a trend line breaks. So there are multiple ways of entry. It's up to you how you want to do it. Always have an approach and don't just randomly enter. Either enter when CCI is crossing minus 100 and above, or CCI is crossing 100 above, right? 100 above is a little safer in case you want to take. No, you'll enter above that point there, right? So there are multiple ways to enter. It's up to you, Suman. Triveni and VST. Triveni, let's look at it. Again, looks fantastic. Nothing to worry really. It does look amazing. It can head higher. No worries there. VST Tiller. VST is going sideways. It is been correcting some little. But I think that that's not a really trend line. I'm sorry, but I think unless it doesn't go below 2,400 levels, which is that swing low, because after that swing we had a double bottom kind of there, and then we kind of went up, right? So unless that swing is not broken, you can still continue to hold VST Tillers. It might do well going forward as well. So 2,400 is the point you have to watch out for. Okay, so Suhas says, I don't watch index while trading stocks. It does affect trading, definitely. What's your take on this? I hold only 2 stocks and today they made all-time high. It's definitely a good sign, right, Suhas? And it's a good thing that you don't watch index, and because you have seen so many examples right now. Index can keep falling, but some stocks can continue to do well because it's buying, and there are very few stocks in the markets which might do well in a bear market. So you might be holding one of those, so just don't exit them. And if your portfolio has hit a high and you have only 2 stocks and both of them made an all-time high, so that's a wonderful pick. Probably keep holding them and they might do well. Okay. Yeah, RVNL K rating. I think RVNL is consolidating again after that move up. Right, sorry, after that circuit. It's just consolidating, going sideways. I don't see a problem again here. Keep your stop loss still around 30 levels. It can do well going forward. K rating. right? It's just going sideways. So this is what I'm talking about again and again. So nothing to worry. If just because stock is going sideways, you don't have to really worry. Again, stop loss here can be around 640 levels, and it can continue to do well, right? I'm just looking at a trend line there. If there's any possibility, so yeah, it's probably nearing a trend line, and then it might just bounce back. Also, I think K rating is in a strong uptrend, right? So keep holding it, might continue to do well. Indus End, I think, had a good move today, right? But then it sold off and it came down. Again, it looks very good. Index, and you should be holding when the bank index was down 3.5%. I think this is one of the strongest stocks. Again, as mentioned before, it is kind of breaking out from a long downtrend. So you might want to hold the stock. It can be a good performer even in a bear market, right? Or even in a sideways market. Shiva, you can wait for the high to be taken out. That's a very good conservative approach. Or wait for a super green candle to form, and then you can buy it. There are multiple approaches. Tata Chem and Cholamandalam Finance. Tata Chem is kind of having a sell-off. I think that's primarily because of the moves it has had. But until it doesn't go below levels of 780, I'd not be really worried. Also, I think there is a trend line there, which the stock might take support. So if it comes towards the trend line, watch for the reaction, and around 800 levels is what you want to watch for. And if you see any good green candle, go ahead and buy it. Okay, Cholamandalam Finance. Cholamandalam Finance, yes. Again, an excellent stock. It has kind of had a breakout around all-time highs. It is just consolidating. Just a matter of time before it heads higher. Okay. Yes, let's check Orient Pro. Yes, it is strong in this weak market. It does look good. I think it's forming a nice, consolidation here, and it's also a base on base. A base on base is a very strong pattern. That's the first base, and then there's another base forming. Right now, that's a beautiful base forming there. Again, it's a good stock. You can hold it. Stop loss is 170. It does look good. Okay. ITC is not real downtrend, Rakesh. ITC is not formed a problem. It's out of a uptrend. It is out of a downtrend. It's now in an uptrend. So just because it has fallen a couple of days doesn't mean it's in a downtrend. Okay. Suman, if anyone entered CC 100 plus, then you try to book. If it depends on what kind of trading you do. If you're trying to do swing trading, then you have to have some other indicator, probably super trend 10,2 maybe. But if you're doing positional, you can exit when CCA goes below -100. Okay, that's one way. AU Bank, again, looks good. I think it has fallen 3.5%, but it's also looking strong. I think there is a trend line that I'm looking at there. I'm sorry. I think I'm drawing some random trend lines. I think there was already a line there, right? But yeah, unless it doesn't go below that point, I think it's safe for a positional trade. You can continue to hold it. It can do well also going forward. Okay, Just Dial and Chalet. Just Dial is pretty weak, to be honest. But yeah, that trend line is not really right. But yeah, it is pretty weak. It has not really performed well. But on the weekly basis, if you're still holding it, the last point is 720, below which I might see some more sell-off happening. But yeah, it's not really strong, especially for positional trades. I would not look at such stocks. It will not give you much returns. So again, give it some time and let it perform, and then you can enter again if you want. Chalet looks good, which is going sideways. A matter of time before it heads higher. You can continue to hold. Tata Power is the last stock that we'll take, and then I think we are done. Tata Power also is going sideways. I think this weak market, it is going sideways. I think results are due in a couple of days. I don't know. But this has not fallen like Tata Chemicals, right? So continue to hold it. It will head higher again. Obviously, after stock moves so much, it will kind of consolidate. Okay. Ninath, good. You bought Matic. Fine, good. Okay, so I think I have answered all your questions, guys. So just don't forget to like the video, and don't forget to share the video with your friends. I will again see you tomorrow. Oh, sorry, tomorrow is Friday, so I'll meet you on the weekend, not tomorrow. So see you again on the weekend with some interesting topic. Maybe I'll discuss, and we'll do a Google Meet chat. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it every week, or even if you don't have the Google Meet, I'll at least have the YouTube live so that we discuss some things, and then we can. Yeah, we'll call it off day to day. Trade safe, take care, and I'll see you again on the weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.